Hey guys, today we talk about psychedelics in Connecticut and a senator who changed his mind on weed. So Colorado has had legal marijuana for almost a decade now, and we have some senators looking back on their decisions, and one of them is Senator Hickenlooper, a Democrat in Colorado, who at first when their state was going through the legalization process, he was very against legalization. He felt like it was going to bring about more young kids getting into marijuana, and that has proven over time, over more and more studies, over more data being released, that actually when a market in a state becomes regulated and part of the legal process, the rates of youth smoking marijuana either decreases or stays stable. And like I said, that has been proven again and again. There's a new report from CPEAR, I don't really know what that stands for, CPEAR, a 29-page report that shows exactly this, especially in Colorado. And he, now seeing all of this data, has come out and said, you know what, I was wrong, and I'm glad that we did this, and that he just didn't want to be the guinea pigs, the first state to actually do it. He says specifically in a video, we really did lead the way in marijuana legalization. It's been 10 years since we legalized recreational marijuana through our Amendment 64 statewide citizen-driven initiative that I opposed. I didn't want Colorado to be the experiment, the petri dish, for one of the great social experiments of the century so far, and we legalized it even though I opposed it. A big focus for me was that I was so nervous about kids who might use marijuana more frequently. I think we've proven and demonstrated that there is no increase in experimentation among teenagers. There's no change in frequency of use, no change in driving while high. All the things we most worried about didn't come to pass. I think this is actually kind of a rare thing to see a senator actually admit to being wrong on something. I feel like you get so much of senators trying to tout their achievements as opposed to saying, you know what, I was wrong back then and now I've changed my views, and it not being just a politically driven change of views. Although I guess this would be kind of politically driven because everyone wants legal marijuana now. But he seems to be coming from a good place, and I appreciate that. And it's kind of nice to see somebody admitting to being wrong when it comes to just seeing data, and now their fears were not substantiated. And for reasons as to why youth use does not go up when it's legalized, it seems to me that what it does is shave off the entire edges of teenagers using marijuana because it's cool. It's no longer as cool. It's not that cool to do something that's legal. Now you're just getting people who actually do it because they enjoy marijuana. They enjoy getting high. They enjoy the feeling, the sensation of it, as opposed to doing it because it's something it's something that you do on the fringes, and you know, you're not cool if you don't do it. All of that stuff is now gone. So you're getting all of those people who are attracted to that taken out of the equation. Next story is some news on the psychedelic front in Connecticut. They're on their way to getting some therapy, some psilocybin and MDMA therapy in the state. A Senate committee has passed this bill. It's Bill HB 5996, very cool name, that will allow them to create some therapy for psilocybin and MDMA for specific people. It's not for everybody. It would be for veterans, war veterans. It would be for people, first responders, and anyone else who has proven that other medications, that antidepressants and other things have not really worked for them. So it's mainly for that, but that's always the first step when it comes to psychedelics getting out there. So the bill has to go back to the full Senate. It looks like it'll pass. It looks like this is something that's going to happen here. And yes, and this becomes yet another step showing that the 2020s will be the pivot point for us seeing psychedelics in a totally new front, in a way that's more centered around getting out of our normal ways of thinking, our normal neural pathways, and opening things up for all of us to kind of see the world in a more fresh perspective, which is extremely important for some, beneficial to everybody, but more beneficial to the people who are really, really stuck in their own ego and ways. So again, I tend to say this every time a psychedelic story comes up, but the elections of 2022, and especially the election of 2024, is when things will really start ramping up. Is when we'll see a lot of legislation come out of voter participation that will kind of ramp up in these states that the politicians probably wouldn't do anything on their own. So they need the voters to kind of show them that this is what they want. And I believe that almost every time the voters will want more decriminalization, more legalization of psychedelics, and all drugs in total for the more democratic states. So I'm looking forward to that. I think it's going to be very interesting to see that happen, especially at the end of this year. And those are the two stories we have today. We'll be back later this week with some more. I'll see you then.